just before this interview was recorded, we started this. I was sitting here and looking at the 35th year edition of DataQuest, right? And I was sitting and I was thinking, what would it take for me to have a 35-year-old witty feed?
Ah, lovely. How nice is that?
What does it take for a man to build something that survives for 35 years? It's a content company, and content has seen so many waves of changes, right? It has evolved in so many ways.
Correct.
And there is a magazine, there is that 35th years of edition, and it was sitting right there, and so what does it take?
And the industry guys all contributed to it.
Yes, it was a collector's edition. I was about to request
and
one.
The industry guys have contributed only because of you, right? Or only because of the,
the image of the publication that I said.
The image of the brand,
the goodwill it's created over the years.
Absolutely.
So how do you, so brand is one part. I want to know, what does it take to survive a business for 35 years, right?
Very pertinent question.
Okay, so one thing which is there is that, right from the beginning, now you talk about influencer marketing. If you see our value statement, one of the words there is that we must create an influence. Okay, so that is something that we did, that we understood the entire community, we understood the needs of the community, and therefore DataQuest played the role of working with the government, with the industry, with the users in trying to come up with what are the sort of changes which are required, how the ecosystem needs to be built up, what sort of policies are needed, and so on.
He's actually contributed in actually building the ecosystem, building the whole policy,
so
working with the government.
Creating communities is the way to go, right? You build.
Yeah, and at all levels.
Yeah, at all
creating
levels.
Not
yes.
just communities, but the entire ecosystem. So when software exports were coming up, we played a human service, I would say, at that time in terms of seeing to it that how policies should evolve, what sort of changes should be there, and so on. So I guess that's what builds up great relationships. That's what builds up great influence that a brand has in the marketplace.
So what should Vinay's takeaway be if he wants to see Witty Feed?
What should I do about Witty Feed to make sure 35 years happen?
No, so I think you are well on your path.
And he's also nodding his head. Yes, I am.
All I would say is that we are in a very fast changing world.
Yes.
Okay. So business models keep on changing, things keep on evolving, new technologies keep on coming in. So you need to be on top of that. So for example, the print model today is under a huge amount of change which is there. And therefore, when we also moved into digital and social media, now that was a move that we had to make in terms of ensuring that we stay with the ball.
I think if I were to say, playing on your strengths is extremely important. Like for example, you're a proud Indori, like how we started this interview with. The internet penetration is still so abysmally low as far as the interiors of the country is concerned. Maybe if Witty Feed plays a part in making that go to the last mile, or somewhere like how probably PG worked with the government in creating policies and whatever. If Witty Feed can get into that last mile connectivity, I think that could very well ensure you being there after 35 years as well.
For sure.
PJ, I'd want to know from you, since you've been so closely involved with this and actually helping build the ecosystem, and you were mentioning that businesses and the models are changing so frequently. If you were to map the difference between the Indian startup ecosystem and the West, or China for that example, what would that be according to you?
I think we need to start evolving our entire ecosystem to that level.
Right. Okay, so that's a given.
What has happened is, huge amount of change has happened in the last 30 years as far as entrepreneurship in India is concerned. So 30 years back, neither mentors were available, nor funding was available, nor were startups available. So all of that thing has changed. But I think there are few areas where we actually need to do much more. One of the areas which is there is that we need to have more IP based stuff coming out.
Okay.
Now, so far the IP that has come from India is probably, in terms of the business plan.
Okay.
Okay, that you have indigenized it and therefore you've done it in a different way. But
taken in from Western models and then Indianizing it, basically the
Yeah.
idea. Yeah, okay.
That's the kind of a thing that has happened. But which are the Indian businesses that you can name which have actually created an IP which can go worldwide?
Correct.
You will literally,
Handful on the
you will
fingers.
have to count it on your fingertips. So that's one thing that has to change, and that, by the way, Silicon Valley, a lot of that stuff is happening. The second thing that is required is that more and more of the corporate India has to get into the act. So just like in Silicon Valley, people used to build companies which will be acquired by a Cisco or by a Microsoft or by a Google and so on. In India, that kind of a thing does not happen. So there is one very important piece of Indian businessman still thinks कि अरे खुद ही कर लेते हैं, एक टीम लगा देते हैं and so on, and very often end up missing the bus.
The whole
कि
Lala
उसमें
thought process.
उसको क्यों पैसे लगाने, हम अपने ही अपनी टीम को बोल देंगे
The
वो कर
whole Lala
लेगा.
thought
Correct.
process.
I'm glad you're saying this.
While we both being in Lala.
And the third most important point, which I think we need to definitely make a change there, is that we are growing, our entire startup ecosystem is growing on the strength of dollars, it is on yens, on Chinese money. This is the investment which is happening. Why should it not be happening out of Indian money?
Correct. So true. So true.
Okay, so if you look at all our successes and you take the unicorns that have been created and look at what is the investment in those unicorns, and you will find that very little of it is now Indian investment.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is also the thought process behind you investing in 10 company or 10 ideas on a yearly basis.
But when it comes to the next stage, I mean, a Paytm gets funded with the Chinese money. Why should it not be funded by Indian money?
I have a little experience to share here.
Yeah.
Again, we were very early days. We were in market once to raise money. We were talking to some investors. So I think the ecosystem, the whole ecosystem, not investors, not startups, but anyone, the whole ecosystem does not believe that we can create global companies.
Acha.
And I have some of this on record from some great people in the
Wow.
ecosystem.
मतलब confidence ही
When
नहीं
I
है.
went and said that I am creating a company, I am creating a content company from a tier 2 city in India which is serving the world.
Right.
I have 30-35 million Americans consuming content on Witty feed.
Wow.
They were just not ready to accept the fact that it can be done. So if you don't have the belief that you can actually do this, you can actually create global companies from India, how will you ever do that?
Correct.
Right?
My God,
So-
I'm getting goose flesh when you say that. It's really
Actually that was the day when I decided not to raise funds until I have proven the point that it can be done from India. And we did that in last 2 years actually. And again, thanks to PG and Dhaval, who has been phenomenal help as mentors. But I didn't find many takers to believe that we can do it except these guys actually. They said, okay, you've done it, and probably if you've done it and it can be done, let's give it a try. Why
Amazing.
not? And that approach change has to come. People have to believe that we can do it. For us to do it, we have to believe that we
मतलब
can
we
do it.
don't consider ourselves good enough or worthy enough
No, we
to be
don't.
able to.
We are intimidated so fast. We don't believe that we can create something for them. We just don't.
Which is very sad. Also, I had a friend who was mentioning.
By the way, today there are so many billionaires who are sitting in India.
Correct.
Right? World billionaires,
Correct.
the top so many. Why do they not give the same international valuations and create big funds and so on? So I think this is a very, very important change that has to come in.
It's
entire
about thought
ecosystem.
process and approach that has to change. The overall thought process has to change about it.
One more change that I would like to see in the Indian ecosystem is that we need to have a new definition of a unicorn.
Okay.
Yeah.
So today people say a unicorn is something which gets a market cap of $1 billion
Right.
plus. I think we should look at a unicorn touching 1 billion lives.
How nice is that?
That
How nice
I'm
is
all
that?
for that, you know.
How nice is that?
That is
In fact, I wanted to come to your definitions of success also, individually, what it means.
Yes.
How would you define success?
Success is something where you feel happy at the end of the day, have a nice sleep, and you see that the companies that you have mentored have flourished. I think that's the way I would sort of define success.
And
Not in monetary terms.
And a true patriot at that, right? Having belief in your own,
Absolutely.
having belief in your own people, having the courage to back up your own people,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
I think that's phenomenal. What does success mean to you?
So he took away my definition when he defined unicorn in a way, half of it. My definition is about impact. For me, success is equal to impact that you create in life, right? And for me, it is all about human lives. I like to call myself a very community-driven person, and there is nothing more important than people, humans, for me when I do anything.
And witty feed is an emotion.
It is an emotion.
You've written on your Facebook page,
yes,
right?
Yes, and I said, शब्दों से नहीं आँखों से बयां होती है. So it is an emotion. So I think for me success is it will become larger as the number of lives that we touch grows basically. So I think I would call my success a unicorn exactly when we touch 1 billion lives.
How nice
and when
is
that
that?
happens actually. So
I think you both are converging at the same, impacting life, impacting.
Yeah.
And if you were to ask me personally, I like to write, it's almost like catharsis for me. And sometimes the family is like, why do you want to share so much of yourself onto pen and paper and expose yourself? And for me, I'm like, even if I can impact one life.
Oh yeah.
I think that's extremely important.
The amount of happiness you experience when you know that it's a different level altogether.
But you guys are the technology masters and you like to scale and you like to reach out.
Which is why we are defining unicorn as 1 billion lives.
Correct. So Vinay, if I were to ask you, what inspires you? What motivates you? What keeps you going? Is it money? Is it impacting people's lives? What is it?
Money became irrelevant long ago.
Really?
Long ago, yeah. So in our generation, 8 years is a really, really long time. I've been doing this for 8 years now.
Considering 8 seconds is your attention span, is what I'm told. So yeah.
Yes, 8 seconds is our attention span. 8 years is a really long time, right? And not, with the fear of trying to, idolize myself. I think I've seen a lot in these 8 years. And money became irrelevant long ago. It doesn't inspire anymore. See, I have a house, I have enough to feed my family, I have everything that I need. After that, what do you do with the money? You don't really know what you do with it. What is again, that's the definition of success is what keeps me going. I think I want to be successful in life. And for me, success is how many lives can I impact.
So let me rephrase this. Where would you want to be 20 years from now? Of course, we know 35 years of witty feed, you would want that to happen.
Yeah, but I would not want to be at witty feed when that happens. That would be a better, I think I would call myself even more successful if I'm not there. And
Okay.
So I keep getting this question, what's your exit strategy?
Right.
And I keep telling I don't have one.
Okay.
I think
But you're open to it. You want to be acquired? Is that what the?
No,
He wants to build a big.
Yes, I want to build a business which survives, which
Without its founder.
Yes, which is there for decades.
True.
I want to build this company for decades, not for
True.
tomorrow, not for a few years, or not for somebody to acquire. I want to build it so that this business is there forever. Because this business is not about making money, but about how many lives you can impact. And I think we are able to do that by creating that. Distribution content.
It's interesting you're saying this because when I interviewed Sanjeev Bikhchandani, he said, for me, definition of an entrepreneur is somebody who can build an enterprise, who can build something and that can survive without its founder.
Yes, that's exactly what I want to do.
Speaking
of where I want to be 20 years, very funny you might find, but I want to do either of the two things or both. One is I want to become Prime Minister of this country one day. Okay. I think I will. I somehow believe that inside.
Okay.
I have huge interest in politics and I'm a true patriot, at least I believe that.
Okay.
And second is having lived technology so closely, I want to be one of the person behind human race becoming a multiplanetary species. So I want to be part of the revolution when we go to Mars and we inhabit it.
Vasu, for one, is going to definitely be following you because he loves this thought process.
Yes. So today only I got published somewhere, a quote of me got published, and both of them got mentioned. So it's a reminder. But
nice.
Anyways,
we will share this interview when you become Prime Minister of the country.
we should. This guy believed it so long ago.
PG.
No, ultimately, you know, I mean, as the Gita says, karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana.
Bilkul. Absolutely.
Okay. I think that has to be the philosophy.
Absolutely.
It is often misunderstood because it does not say that, you know, don't care for the result.
Right.
It says that don't be driven by
the result.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, yes, aspire for a result,
Right.
but, you know, don't be driven by that result, which is what a lot of people do, you know, as you were saying, valuation.
Right.
So they would change their business plan so that they can get a valuation, even if they don't believe in that. Now that's the wrong thing to do.
Right.
You know, so you believe in what is right and continue doing work as per what you think is right, and you know.
Interesting. We started the conversation with this. We're, I think, wrapping up with this again, saying that if your value system is correct, the universe actually conspires to make you achieve your end goal.
Yes.
There is only one thing that works in life, and that is persistence. You believe in what you do and just stick to it. It works in the end.
PJ, any regrets? Any regrets at all? Or anything that you would like to change when you were younger, maybe with the wisdom that you have now?
Not really.
No.
You know,
Everything has built and had
No.
its
I mean, there
importance.
are things which have gone wrong. There are mistakes that have been made and so on. But you know, would I?
They were an important milestone.
Yeah, absolutely. There is learning out of that.
How you'd like to be remembered, PG?
I think would like to be remembered as somebody who made a difference in India's journey into information technology.
Wow. Define India's journey in information and technology, actually paved its path. How would you like to be remembered?
I don't know, but I would like to be remembered as
Besides being the Prime Minister of the country, of course.
and die on Mars.
And die on Mars. Wow. Not Venus?
I think Mars is good enough for our generation. We'll figure out.
Venus is too hot.
Venus is too hot. Venus anyways will die if we go there, right? I think I would like to be remembered as a symbol of persistence. I think that's I'm driven by that word in my life. I think whatever I am and whatever I will be in life is because I'm going to be there, because I know it works at the end. So
Nice.
I'm just going to stick to it.
Thank you so much, Vinay, for doing this. Thank you so much, PG, for doing this.
Really
today.
a pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Pleasure.
See you.